All right, I'm Ty Cooper, and my major is marketing.
Hi, I'm Cade Coffey, and I'm a business major here at Palm Beach Atlantic. And me and Ty both have in common that we play at the golf team here at PBA. But interesting little story fact, we actually did not meet on the golf course. We both kind of met each other in a humanities class. His freshman year and my first year here, I transferred. So yeah, let's get right into it.
All right, so our case is Epperson v. Arkansas, and to start her off, the parties in the case. First, we'll start out with Susan Epperson. She was a teacher at Central High School, Little Rock, in Arkansas, and she was a biology teacher. And she came across that she couldn't teach what she kind of believed on with human evolution, and really wanted to teach the kids. And for Arkansas, they really favored Christians and wanted to talk about the book of Genesis if they came across it. And so she didn't feel like that was right. And with her, her attorney was Eugene R. Warren. And on him was with him was also Bruce T. Bullen. And to represent the state of Arkansas was Don Langston. He was Attorney General of Arkansas. And then with him was also Joe Purcell, which he was also Attorney General. The judges, the Chief Justice was Warren, and then with him as well was Lugo Black, William Douglas, John Harlan, William Brennan, Potter Stewart, Byron White, Abe Fortress, and Thurgood Marshall. And some of the information that we got and their opinions on this case was from Fortress. He was Associate Justice of the Supreme Court of the U.S. He had a very short career, but he made a very big impact on the Supreme Court and did really well at what he did. Facts about the case. So the Arkansas legislature was banning teachers from using textbooks that teach evolution. In these textbooks, it was human revolution, and kind of mentioned how it ascended and descended from animals. And a little fact was biology wasn't taught in Arkansas, and a few classes they did, but it was very rare that you're in a class that was teaching biology. And Susan Epperson sued the state because her viewpoint on this, she believed that she should be able to teach this, and kind of violated the First Amendment and 14th as well. And the Arkansas Education Association uh, wanted to challenge this anti-evolution law, and they needed someone to kind of sue the state, and Susan was the one that they ended up picking out. So, and then
More about the case is the question the court was really trying to answer here was a very simple one. Yet there was a lot to consider before they could conclusively come to a decision if there should be a change to what we teach the youth of America in the public school system. So the question is, does a law forbidding the teaching of evolution violate either the free speech rights of teachers or the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment? Like I said, very simple question. A lot of complexity behind that question. Now I'll discuss and outline briefly the events and general chronology of Miss Epperson's case against Arkansas and eventually the Supreme Court. Susan Epperson, firstly, she challenged the Arkansas law that criminalized teaching evolution because she wanted to teach from a book, a biology book, that included ideas of the concept of evolution. Um, she challenged the law because she believed the statute should be void due to its vagueness. She wanted to overturn the law so she could teach from that biology textbook. The theory of evolution, that's just what she thought was right. So that's what she tried to push. She challenged the law against the Arkansas Supreme Court, but like I said, she ended up losing that because they say that just to even teach that there is such a theory of evolution would be inherently wrong and violate the statute. When Epperson took the case to the Supreme Court, she got the ruling she was hoping for. She ended up winning the case, and the ruling from Arkansas was overturned. The Supreme Court ruled in favor of her. They said that even keeping this rule in place would violate her speech, her free speech, and they saw no choice but to overturn it. Next, I want to discuss a pivotal moment in our nation's legal history, encapsulated in the case of Epperson v. Arkansas. In the landmark case, the constitutional principles included from the First and 14th Amendment were at the forefront. That is what was being discussed. Firstly, you have to consider the context. The state of Arkansas had a law that prohibited the teaching of evolution in public schools. Susan Epperson, who was merely a high school teacher, challenged the law, argued that it violated her First Amendment rights and 14th. The First Amendment, though, as we all know, protects freedom of speech and religion. In this case, it was the Establishment Clause of the First Amendment that was under scrutiny. The Supreme Court, in its wisdom, ruled in favor of Susan Epperson. Why? Because in the court's opinion, they found that the Arkansas law crossed a constitutional line. The law, by prohibiting the teaching of evolution, was essentially promoting a specific religious viewpoint. One that aligned with a literal interpretation of the Bible's account of creation, which is what those who are Christian believe. However, they felt that that belief alienated too many people. Also, the court declared that the Arkansas decision was a violation of the Establishment Clause, which really kind of mandates the separation of church and state. Now, lastly, on the legal issues, Epperson's case marked a turning point in the understanding of the separation of church and state in the United States as it is today. It catalyzed a monumental increase in the belief that public institutions, such as public schools, should remain neutral and refrain from endorsing or inhibiting particular religious beliefs. The evolving concept of the separation of church and state is not merely a legal battle, it is a moral and ethical dilemma.
Now, our opinions on the case and their decision. I really agree with what they did, just because really violated the freedom of speech and religion. And I think a lot of these classes, they go by the book, and it kind of really makes it hard for teachers to avoid something. And I also read an article where a lot of these teachers would tell them, with all these textbooks, they told them to skip this page, and it would kind of question the students and have them really look into it more, and then they start asking questions. But for them, the teachers, it was illegal to teach this. So now, in today's world, they can talk about whatever they want, like in the book of Genesis and how man kind of started. But then they also have to go over the topic of human evolution and however, and a different point of view. And they can still teach on what they want, but also have to go over the other opinion on what they needed. So I like what they did, and kind of in Susan's favor. It would make life really hard on these teachers. And with biology not being taught, I mean, going in college, there's a lot of biology majors, and I think this is just very important for a lot of students. And skipping that information, you might feel way behind on classes, and really just hurts overall on what's going on.
Yeah, so I agree with Ty a lot of what he has to say here. I really think the Supreme Court, I think they were right, unfortunately. As a Christian, it hurts a little bit not to see people being taught what I believe is correct, but I understand where they're coming from. They don't want to alienate too many people. That is very consistent with the views of Christianity. You don't never want to alienate someone. You always want to be somebody's friend, supportive. You know what they say, love the sinner, hate the sin, that sort of thing. I think the government always kind of staying as neutral as possible in these moral kind of debates is a good idea. I don't think the government should be able to monitor morale, but with our kids, it is a little bit different. So it's kind of a tough decision. I see both sides of the party. I understand where they come from, but overall, I think the Supreme Court they made the right decision.
Thank you so much.